villainous emotions. Welcome, everybody, to my review. This is the Inside Out review because, to be honest, there's nothing worth seeing that I haven't already reviewed. So I put this one on the back burner and decided what the hell. I was going to give it a go and, well, let's talk about it. So Inside Out 2 is the sequel to the original Inside Out. If you've been living under a rock, it was basically about a girl and her emotions, and they had funny little characters, and then they went on a quest because one of the emotions, joy, fucked shit up, and they had to fix it all. And, you know, we learned lessons along the way. Now, here's my thing. Pixar has been on a bit of a losing streak since joining the evil corporation that is Disney. Pixar has lost something. I don't know if it's under Disney mandates or what the case may be. But Pixar has seemed to lost the magic that has made it universally different from all of the other companies. Now, I wind this all back up because I've heard a lot of things on the internet about how Inside Out 2 is a return for Disney and Pixar and all this stuff. And I'm here to tell you, for me, Inside Out 2 is just what Pixar used to be with an IP they're familiar with. And this is the issue that I have with Inside Out 2, is that it is Inside Out 2. I think this movie having success is a bad thing because this is going to encourage Disney's mandate to not focus on original content and to only do these sequels and prequels and The Lion King, Mufasa, and all this bullshit that we're getting this summer. So I have some positives and some negatives here, but I'll get straight down to my point with my negative. My first big negative is this is a fucking sequel. I'm so tired of sequels for these movies. I don't give a shit it's a kid's movie because people are going to say, well, Zod, it's a kid's film. Who gives a fuck? But these things matter. Pixar and Disney and all these companies used to make original shit. And with Inside Out doing as well as it's doing, it's going to encourage them not to have creativity. So that's one negative that I have. But my overall second negative to this film is that it's the same. I mean, okay, so I'm gonna break this. It's different and it's the same all at once. And what I mean by that is there is a interesting concept here, and I do see the leeway to explore this story further. And I think the movie does fine justifying there being a sequel. It's interesting to see the little girl as a young teenager. All that is good. But my first big complaint is the emotions that they have on this one kind of feel like weird to put in. She's got anxiety now and depression and this other one. And I get what they're doing, but I think it was a little bit weird how it was incorporated. And then this one emotion locks them up. Sound familiar? It's the same fucking plot from the first one. And then the other emotions are all locked together and they got to get out and get back to the fucking headquarter nerve center thing. And that part bored the shit out of me because it was nothing new. I saw it in the first movie. But where this movie is actually quite interesting is that I have a daughter. So I said, okay, I'm going to give this a fair shot because I have a kid. This might be relatable. And the moodiness and the things like her switching her friends and things like that, that was interesting. I think that Pixar did both a good and bad job in this movie. They did a good job as far as, hey, Krimmel, what's up? No, this one's a little bit pleasant. You'll see in my rating. I had to get my negative out of the way. I don't always like to be negative. This movie is watchable. I'll put it that way. But anyways, so my positives are when they were dealing with the parents and her being a teenager. Hey, Carmen. And I found that stuff fascinating. as to how they relate the emotions, changing her, especially when the awkward emotion came into play. No, there's no spoilers. This is all from the trailer. I'm not spoiling anything you didn't see in the trailer. But it was really super interesting to see the dynamics change, and they do have the characters from the first film older, so it's a coming of age story mixed with the emotional stuff that the young girls can go through as they're growing up. And I think watching it with kids is okay. It's a good, for me, this is a movie. It has no politics in it. There's no, shit in there that Disney likes to throw in. They, for the most part, keep this just about the story. And it feels like something you can watch with your kid if they're going through that awkward stage in their lives where they're getting zits and they're having feelings for boys and all that stuff. So I commend Pixar for their depiction of how little girls becoming young adults and that kind of flip perspective. I think that that's pretty cool how they did that. The emotions are fine. You have the standard emotions, and then you have the new ones. The new ones didn't really blow my socks off. They are it's like the first movie, and this isn't a spoiler. If you watch the first movie, it's the same exact fucking thing, but different emotions. You're one's always mopey, one's awkward, and one's I don't know the name of it. I forgot the name of the emotion, but it was the one where it was trying to fit in with everyone, that kind of deal. And so it was interesting to see the growth of the character. The parents were good, but very sparingly used in this one. I liked in the first film how they showed what the parents were thinking as the child was thinking it, and they do less of that in this movie. I don't know why. That was my favorite part of the first film. But the moments they have were pretty cute. All in all, this isn't if I'm doing a non-spoiler review without getting into spoilers on specific scenes that I thought were just fucking ripoffs from the first movie that bring down my score. I mean, honestly, it's a good, wholesome, entertaining movie. Now, the big question these days is it worth going to the cinema to see? My opinion, if you have kids and you want the theater experience and there really isn't shit out to watch right now, go see my review on the disappointing motorcycle movie. This is a good alternative. You can take your mom and the kid and everybody to see, and they'll have a couple of laughs, and you do the family thing. This is the first Disney-centric, and I say Disney because don't say, oh, but it's by Pixar. It's the same fucking thing. They own Pixar. I don't give a fuck. It's all Disney. It's very much in the vein of the first movie, and I think if you're a parent, this is a good movie to take your kids to see. And I think this is better than the first movie in one sense that it deals a lot more with maturity. So if you have older kids or kids who are just coming into that age or they're in that age, I think they'll get a kick out of it. I think they can identify a lot more with the main character, and especially certain scenes. Like I said, this is non-spoiler, but there were some scenes that got a chuckle out of me where I have flashbacks, war flashbacks of the youngest dictator going through it. So in that sense, and it wasn't blatant like that movie Red that everybody likes. I hate that fucking movie, but that's just not a movie for me. But it's not as blatant with the stuff. They drop subtle things. If your kids are over 30, then they probably won't appreciate this. Go take them to see something different. But I mean, if you have people and you have a get together and you want to throw something on, this movie is at least entertaining for both adults and kids. And I've said this in my Garfield review. My biggest problem with that movie is it's not fun for adults. It's fucking stupid. But this movie has those subtle jokes that I miss from Pixar that only the adults will really grab. There's a couple of jokes where I was like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. So it proves to me that when Disney steps back and doesn't fucking put their greedy, grubby hands into something, that the studios can actually fucking work and make good stuff without dictator Disney over their fucking shoulder telling them what fucking points to put in their movie or telling them to cut this and that. You can actually have a good movie. Go figure. Maybe you shouldn't fucking micromanage your departments. Like, if you're going to buy out a company, maybe just fucking let them make the movies they want to make and not mandate shit. Because right now, Disney is hurting and they need a win. And I think Deadpool is going to be more of a win for them, but this definitely helps. This movie is very rapidly getting to the billion mark. I don't think it's going to make $1 billion, but it's made more than its money back. And for good reason. It's a decent film. It's fun. It's fine. I give this movie a 7 out of 10, mainly because for it to be 8, 9, or 10, I would have to find something new and exciting, like, Late Night with the Devil or things like that. I could put this on in the background and I'd be fine, but focusing on it, it's just very nitpicky. I saw a lot of things that were very close to what the first movie did, and I think that the biggest points off for me is just originality. Pixar proves with this movie that they haven't lost their ability to have a good family theme message and underlying jokes and that witty sense of humor that we all love Pixar movies for. But I think since joining Disney, they've been handheld and kind of tied down. And it's a shame that Disney only wants to focus on sequels and prequels and remakes. That's like literally Bob Iger has come out and said that's what they want to do and strengthen their properties. So I think it's a shame that for a while we're not going to see anything original for them. And the fact that this movie is going to do well is only going to make them realize that they don't need to put any effort into anything. They can just make an Inside Out 3 and 4 and the fucking adult years, and then they'll do Her when she has a kid. Like, it's good for 1, maybe 2 movies, but if it keeps on being successful, it's going to go the route of like Despicable Me and Minions and all these other movies where they just pump out all of these sequels and there's no fucking original thoughts left. That's just my feelings on it, and that is a big deduction for me. Like, look, even with Furiosa, I said one of my negatives was it wasn't original. It was a prequel to a much better movie. And, I just want to see original films. And I have been watching a lot of great original horror movies and even those horrible action movies I watched. They're original. They're not very good, but they were original thoughts at least. And this just felt like a safe, quick cash money grabber. They knew they were going to get the kids and the adults. And, they put the effort in. They made a different story. I can't fault them for that. And I'm not going to shit on a movie because they have a formula and it works. They tweak things, they made it slightly different, but at the end of the day, this is just a glossier version of the original movie with the character being older and tackling that. So do I think you can go on with it? Sure. But do I want to see like more of these? Nah, I'm done after 2. If they make a 3, I have no interest. I want to see Pixar do something new. But anyways, in the comments below, let me know. Did you see Inside Out 2? Did you like it? I know me going off, it seems like I didn't like the film, but I did. It's a 7. Let me know what's your favorite animated movie. Are you tired of sequels? Do you want to see an original? And join us tonight because we will have the championship match between Arnold and Stallone. The top 8 movies will be facing off against each other. You guys voted for Rocky to win over Demolition Man, so that's the GOAT, and then T2 is the GOAT for Arnold. So anyways, in the comments below, let me know which movies do you like. And as always, remember, there is only one rule here in the Fandom Zone: kneel before Zod.